Hi, Hopper class. It's Friday. This is your last English lesson before half term. So, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper. Right, let's have a look. Today's objective is, can I explain which story was my favourite? So you're going to have a little think about all of the stories that we have read during this half term, and that includes all of your connected texts as well. So in this lesson, we're going to be looking out for capital letters and full stops, finger spaces, your precursive handwriting, and we're going to use a conjunction, and that conjunction is, my turn, because. Because. It's a fantastic word, because it can join two clauses together and make a really complicated sentence. So we're going to write about what our favourite story was from this half term. Now, my favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk. I really enjoyed filming it and I found it quite funny. So we've got these sentence starters that you can use. We've got I liked the story, I enjoyed it when, or my favourite story was because. Now, if I go back to our success criteria, we need to use the conjunction because. So I'm going to use the last sentence starter because that will remind me to use because. So I'm going to write, my favourite story was, and then I'm going to finish the sentence. So let me move this up. My favourite story was, I've got my coat on because it's very cold in here. I need to start my sentence with a capital letter. So the first word is my, so it's a capital M. Oh. My favourite. Now that's a tricky word to spell, so make sure that you look at the slide if you're using that sentence opener. My favourite story was, my favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk. So I need to write Jim and the Beanstalk. Jim and the Beanstalk. My favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk. Now, you don't have to write Jim and the Beanstalk, you write about your favourite story. I liked Jim and the Beanstalk because the giant wore a really funny wig. If Jim and the Beanstalk is your favourite story, you need to think of why. Don't just copy mine. So I've written, my favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk. Now I need to write because. Because. Oh, I'm going to do that in red because it's my special conjunction, isn't it? Because, and this is where you will have a think about why you liked your choice of story. I'm going to write because the giant wore a funny wig. So because the giant wore a funny wig. Full stop. Okay. Right, let's just check that. My favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk because the giant wore a funny wig. Now let's have a look at the checklist. Let's make sure I've got everything. So, capital letters. I've got a capital letter at the start of my sentence. Go me. Let's have a look through the sentence. Let me see if I can move you a bit closer. Now, my favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk. Jim is a name, isn't it? Do I need a capital letter for Jim? I think I do, don't I? So I need to change that. There we go. Phew. This is why it's important to check your writing. So my favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk because the giant wore a funny wig. My capital letters are all there now. Thank goodness I checked it. Full stops. Now I should only have one full stop because it's only one sentence. So, full stop goes at the end. I've got it. We don't need a full stop here because the word because is going to join what your favourite story is and why to make an extended sentence. This is all one sentence. Even though it's 5 lines long, it's one sentence. I've got my full stop. Have I used my precursive handwriting? Yes, I have. Have I used the conjunction? Because I have, and I even wrote it in red to show off even more. Fantastic. There's something missing from our checklist. What is it? So lots of our targets this year, finger spaces. So I'm going to add it. Finger spaces. Okay, let's check my finger spaces. My favourite story was Jim. Oh, I've got one here, but it's very small, isn't it? I think it could be a bit clearer, so I'm going to do a little line just to neatly show that I've checked my writing. And then if someone checks my writing, they'll see that I've looked at it and I've acknowledged I missed a finger space. Jim and the Beanstalk, because the giant wore a... War and are 2 words. There should be a finger space there. Wore a funny wig. There we go. Now I have my finger spaces, so I'm going to tick it off. My sentence is ready for someone to check. My favourite story was Jim and the Beanstalk because the giant wore a funny wig. There we go. I have successfully done all of these things. So what I want you to do now is to have a think about what your favourite story was and why, and I'd like you to write it in a sentence. Then I would like you to use all of these things, go back and check that you've got them, okay? I look forward to reading your sentences and hearing your opinions on the stories and finding out which was your favourite. And have a wonderful half-term, Hopper class. Take care. Bye-bye.